This is John Walton, and you're listening to the Power Play Point podcast with the Blue Liner on points and Anna Knox. Here's Wilson, and on the right side, he scores!
Rebound loose, wild scramble in front, score! Ovechkin with a buzzer beater! It'll count!
And a hat trick tonight, number 21,
Spectacular! Braden Holtby!
Hello, welcome once again to the Power Play Point podcast. This is your host, the Blue Liner on Point, talking to you live to tape from my humble abode in Glen Burnie, Maryland. And it's, an action-packed road trip week that we're going to get into here. Some good, some bad. If you like California roller coasters, well, that's kind of what we were on with a Vegas dip. But more on that later. So joining me this week, Anna's actually off. Joining me this week is a familiar voice to you all from her own residence in Myersville, Maryland. C4, Cheryl Anne Forster. Cheryl Anne, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing quite well, all things considered. I did my salt cave meditation earlier today, so I was able to release the negative energy from last night's game and
Salt cave
move into the next one, Zen.
Meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I think sounds like something we could all use.
Oh, it's amazing. It's up in Hagerstown. It's this room, and it is an entire room lined with bricks of Himalayan pink salt, and the floor is chunks of Himalayan pink salt, and you just go in there and you just relax, and it is just release everything.
Well, that's very interesting because my wife and I like to cook with Himalayan pink salt, and it's very rarely relaxing. In fact, it gets kind of stressful at times. But another discussion, another podcast, another lifetime, maybe.
There you go.
Okay, so we got 4 games to recap. So we'll get to it. But before we do, I just want to put the notice out there to our loyal listeners that, Power Play Point podcast is the only Caps fan-made podcast that is made fresh every week. All of our episodes are handmade, hand-recorded, hand-posted, hand-published. And if you don't like it, you can talk to the hand. But there you go. So that's who we are. No, seriously, you listen for free. And so if you have it in your hearts, I know it's holiday season, but if you have the movement in your hearts and in your wallets, most especially like to ask at this point that if you want to make a donation to us because we're coming up on having to get some bills paid, it would be much appreciated. Also, I'm kind of looking at maybe a few equipment upgrades and some service upgrades to get things going a lot better than what we have, so we sound better as a machine overall. So I just wanted to put that out there. I know we joke a lot, but just kind of serious about that last part because, economy's not sucking as bad as it was, but, what the hell, got to get the notice out there. All right, so let's just go ahead and get into it. It's 4 games, as we said, first 3 out in California. First one against the San Jose Sharks, and because of how awful the Sharks started their season, I think a lot of folks kind of automatically painted this as a win. Well, wasn't to be. It's a 2-1 loss. So let's briefly go over what happened in this game. So it was on a Monday, so everybody was feeling kind of crummy as it was anyway. I thought the Caps kind of started real slow. Took them, I would say, about 10 minutes to get going. And, well, that kind of coincided with the first goal of the game, which was scored by the Sharks, 10-23 to be exact. So they take a 1-0 lead. Kuzi, with his 4th, answers second period, 16:25 in. Van Riemsdyk and Faravari on the assists, and then Luke Cunnin on the Sharks power play gets the game winner. I didn't think this was a bad game. They got 34 shots on goal. The power play still wasn't getting it together, but I didn't think it was a bad game overall. But just again, it took them so long to get started, and I think that's kind of what doomed them. But the output was definitely there. So yeah, C4. What did you think when you saw?
I didn't. I'm going to confess, I didn't see the whole game. I kind of fell asleep for most of it. But just looking at the stats and stuff, we had 3 power play opportunities, and I think in this game, quite honestly, the power play made the difference. If our power play had been spot on, this might have been a different outcome. Like you said, we had the shots on goal. The face-offs were good. So all in all, it wasn't on paper anyway a bad game on our part, but I really think if our power play had been spot on, it might have been a different outcome. It might have been a 2-2 going to overtime kind of thing, and we might have won it had we gotten lucky. The other thing is, Ovi's kind of been a little quiet. Once he breaks open, that can make a difference. So all in all, like you said, not a horrible game. We did make the effort. It does look like in the third period we did slack off a little bit, but so did they. We had 7 shots, they had 6 shots. So the third period may not have been much to talk about, but again, I'm not overly upset about this game. It annoys me that it was San Jose that we lost to, but
well, they've actually, next, right? True. They've actually been playing a lot.
Playing better.
They've been playing better as of late. They had that horrible start. What was it? They only won one out of their first 11. But since then,
Yeah. So to give them their due, they have been playing a lot better. And I think part of it is we weren't expecting them to play that well. You know what I'm saying? Or
yeah.
Or I think we underestimated them a little bit too.
Oh, so. I think that was definitely a part of it. And of course, 30 plus shots on goal. I mean, you can't really do much worse than that. You really can't.
Right.
And of course, Mackenzie Blackwood stood on his head for half of them.
Yeah.
So,
and we've always had trouble scoring against him. We have always had trouble scoring. Even when he was in New Jersey, we had issue, So yeah, the history with him and us is we do struggle against him.
Yeah. So. I don't know what it is about him, but yeah, he always plays us tough. So I wasn't too disappointed, even though again it was San Jose. But yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not going to draw a line through it and dismiss it, but I wasn't too disappointed because the effort was definitely there, even though it did take them a while to get started.
Right.
Now the next game, I don't know if I have an explanation for this, but all right. So the first game, I guess you could say the effort was there, but they ran into the hot goalie. This game was the exact opposite. The effort wasn't there, but we had the hot goalie.
Right. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we're sitting there going, oh my God, how is this score not 4-2, 4-1, whatever. I mean, dang, it was as good. I mean, as good as the outcome was that we won, it was so frustrating to watch. You know what I mean?
It was frustrating to watch, but it was also, rip your hair out exciting, if that can be a phrase.
15 total shots on goal, and we still managed to pull a win out. How do you do that?
Yeah, well,
that is like.
Here's the thing about that. I'm glad you brought that up because my good friend Doug Lucerarian in the chat room said something about that, and it's like, I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not going to quote him, although I could bring it up, but I'll paraphrase. Now, how can you be happy about getting a win or over the moon or even satisfied with playing that way and getting the win? I mean, yeah, you'll take the win after a game like that, but if you can get it, but that better not be the norm, and that can't be the norm. And
No.
yeah, 15 shots on goal is piss poor
To 39. Our goaltender stopped 38 freaking goals. Shots.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That you cannot sustain that and hope to get anywhere. And I get that this is a learning curve year. I get all that, but this is that can't be how you play. That cannot be habit. That needs to be like a severe aberration.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I think sometimes they get into this habit where they're either afraid to shoot, don't want to shoot, don't put themselves in a position to shoot. And I mean, we're 15 or 50, what is it, 20? No, we're at the quarter pole. So we're 20 plus games in. So I don't know. You would like to see habits like that kind of start to go away, but they're not. And
right.
It frustrates the bejesus out of me when I see stuff like that they just they get in position and they don't do anything. They don't put themselves in a position to score, and it's just you cannot hope to win games if you play like that.
No, you can't, as evidenced by the upcoming.
Yeah. No, we'll get to that. But a few words. I mean, I kind of feel obligated to say something about the goaltending because I mean, without the absolute stellar performance of Charlie Lindgren, that game might as well have been a loss.
Oh, no doubt.
Like you said, what was it? Well, let me check the. So the official score. Okay, so yes, like you said, 39 shots on goal from the King. Oh, and they ramped it up too. I think the whole last 11 plus minutes of the third period was played in the Capitals' end. I swear.
Yeah, pretty close to it anyway.
It had to have been. I don't think they got a shot on goal the last 10 minutes of the game.
I think you're right. At least the last 10 minutes.
I can't remember even 30 seconds of that part of the game being played outside that zone at all.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too. LA had 3 power plays. We didn't have a power play in that game.
Yeah, well, that's going to be another bone of contention this trip.
So, I mean, and to win that kind of game is just insane. That's like literally pulling it out of your ass.
No, that's true. And look, you can't necessarily blame the refs all the time, but
I don't think in this game, no. But
not in this game, but
okay.
Quick little sports history story. I read I don't know if some of you old timers out there, especially in the Baltimore area, remember the old Baltimore Colts and a guy by the name of Artie Donovan. I read his autobiography, Fatso, and he described when in the old NFL they had only 2 teams out west, LA and the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, they existed all the way back then in the 50s. And he said they had 2 West Coast reffing crews that flip-flop between those 2 cities during the season. And they always favored the home teams. And I kind of thought of that, and I kind of feel like we've been getting screwed like that because I mean, yes, I know, of course, the referees get assigned to all 32 cities, but it just kind of has that feel like, we're going out there and we're not we're the East Coast team and I don't know. It just feels like the officiating has been horribly uneven. I mean, what do you think?
To put it mildly, yes. I think it's just been, it's like, it almost feels like we're getting picked on, and I don't really think we are, but it almost feels that way. That we just happen to be the team that's getting picked on this year. I mean, and it's beating a dead horse. I mean, until Bettman acknowledges it and figures it out, it's going to happen.
Oh, he's never gonna acknowledge it.
But like we talked about, I think it was on the Sakura podcast. If you're hearing refs you suck in stadiums across the league, like everywhere, like almost every game I've watched that hasn't ours, at least one a night, there's somebody yelling refs you suck. There's a problem. I mean, if the average fan can see a penalty and the ref doesn't, and you're watching the replay and it's a penalty or not a penalty in some cases, there's a problem there, and it needs to be addressed.
Big problem.
And I mean, I don't know half the rules of hockey, and I could probably call a better game than some of these guys sometimes,
And by the way, that would be the Sacroom's Capitals Are Off the Chain podcast. Now, episode 3 now out on Spotify, starring Marcus Lemley.
Yeah, and usually me, but I was at an event with some friends.
Guest starring some guy named Gil.
And some other guy named Jared, who happens to be a buddy of ours. So, good podcast. I actually listened to it today. So, take a listen when you get a chance.
Yep. And I'll be expecting a residual check any week now.
Yeah, I'm returning the favor right now.
Right. Anyway, but yeah, 6 penalty minutes on the Capitals to 0 for the LA Can. It wasn't as if they were all angels, pun intended here. I mean, come on. I saw at least 3 calls that could have been trips or hooks.
At least.
I didn't even.
Was there a cross check? No. There was the cross check was in the game coming up that they didn't call.
Well, there was a lot that didn't get called, but
and a couple that shouldn't have.
Yeah, but
we'll get there.
The officiating just has been awful, to put it in a word, and I think I'm being kind when I say that. I really do, because it just cannot be more obvious that one team's getting called for the same infraction and one team is not. And when it's that obvious, then there's how else can you explain it? There is a bias in place. And if you throw it in the commissioner's face, he will deny it to this living day. He will.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say that nothing in this sport is ever going to get better or ever going to change until he's gone. And it's never going to reach its full potential until he leaves. And yes, you can say all you want that he's in the pocket of all 32 ownership groups. That may be the case, but he's involved in rules changes, marketing of the game, making sure the game gets played right. Okay. Not the owners. The owners just pay him. They pay him, right, and they make sure that the owners don't lose money. Okay. They're not involved in actually running the freaking game. So in that regard, he's done a piss poor job, and nothing is going to improve until he's gone. That's my quick rant for this week. So, yeah, I mean,
I'll just say, preach, brother, preach.
Yeah. Charlie frickin' Lindgren stood on his head, and had it not been for him, then yeah, it's not even worth talking about. It's a different game, and
okay.
I'm not going to get into well, what if Darcy had started? Well, what if he'd started? I don't know. I can't say. Nobody can say.
Yeah. So shoulda, woulda, coulda don't mean anything.
Exactly. And maybe we would have lost. Maybe still would have won. Maybe would have scored more goal. I don't know. It's too hard to say. But what happened, and thank God it did, because they came out of there with the 2 points, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
Back to the refs for a second. I do want to make another point here that okay, I'm checking the staffing of the Sharks game. Summary. Okay, so it was the Kings game and the next game after that, the very same night, not the very same night, the next night against the Ducks up the road in Anaheim. Brian Pakmara was a referee in both of those games.
Ew.
Yeah. And Tom, I don't even know how to say this. Shimilewski?
Shimilewski, yeah, sure.
Shimsham? I don't know.
Shimilewski.
Whatever the hell.
Shimilewski? I don't know.
Shimaluser? I don't know.
There you go.
He reffed this game and the one in Vegas. And I don't know. I kind of think that's a little suspect to have the same refs operate in the same series of games. I think that's a little suspect. And that's, that's why I say there's gross mismanagement by the league, because they're not seeing things like that. I would think they would want to shake things up a bit, but But anyway, on to the Anaheim game. So I wanted to focus a little bit more on this one and the other game from last night against Vegas. Wow, this one. Well, I wasn't sure what to expect, honestly, because all I know is I hate the Ducks, and I was just hoping for a good win, and a good win we got in regulation. But yeah, this one was a crazy game in a good way. Let's just do what we always do, and it's a rundown of scoring. So 127 in. Anthony Mantha gets his 5th of the year, continuing his stellar comeback season, unassisted. 127 in. And then the Yucks tied it up about 22 seconds later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate seeing that. And then Caps fell behind again about 6 minutes later. And of all people in this, Marcus expressed his disgust. Ex-Cap Brett Leeson scored at 7:51.
I'm still stinging over that one.
Yeah,
I'm still stinging over that.
That's making some folks a little salty that couldn't move enough contract to keep him.
Yeah, well, that was that whole mortgaging the future for the now thing we're talking about too.
Right,
exactly. And we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. So he's assisted by another piece of the Ducks' future, Leo Carlson. So Caps quickly fell behind, much to everyone's disgust. That's why it was one of the reasons why I didn't know how this game was going to go. And then who should take over the game about 8 minutes later, but our boy Tom Wilson. And I think Anna's kind of listening and hoping she was going to be a part of this, but he broke the game open here, scoring an even strength unassisted goal, his 5th of the year at 15:54. And then this one,
was that beautiful backhand, right?
Yes. This one, I actually thought, I want to apologize. I actually had this down as the shorthanded goal, but how could it be the shorthanded goal when he was the one in the box? So what happened was he had just come out of the box, and the Ducks mishandled the puck at the point, and he picked it up and charged down the center and put the backhander in the net. Past, who was it? Gibson in net? Was it John Gibson?
Good question.
I want to say it was John Gibson. That's how little I pay attention to the Ducks.
That's right. I'll find out. You keep going.
No, got it almost, I think. I got to switch over to the Ducks tab. And yes, it was John Gibson that was in net that game. So, yeah, beautiful backhander, like you said, just after the penalty had expired. And then what does he turn around and do but gives the Caps the lead when the Caps actually go on the power play? Yes, you heard me right. The Washington Capitals scored a power play goal.
Woohoo! Finally.
Just when you thought they had all gone missing. Just when you were ready to say, somebody please shoot them all and put them out of our misery.
Right?
They finally score a power. I was ready to put them all on a milk carton and post, have you seen me?
There you go.
Jeez. So this one, I would say, yeah, I don't think this is saying too much. I would say this is the goal of the week for the Caps. So we're going to punch up the old replay here. Okay, so here's the face-off. Mantha wins the draw, and it goes around to the point, and I think that's Carlson who's got it. They've got it on the strong side. Ovechkin directs it to the net, and it bounces, takes a crazy bounce off Gibson, and Tom Wilson is there in front to poke it in. So Carlson gets it to Ovechkin for the one-timer, and Tommy on the spot for the rebound, and just actually looks like another backhander. If I'm looking at this replay right, that last shot. And makers of the app, can you, if you're listening, yeah, can you do a bit of the screen orientation? Can you fix that? Because if you try to make the screen bigger by switching the landscape to portrait option, you can't. Okay,
Yeah,
not all of us have eyes that can see itty bitty things.
Right?
Okay, so just a note there, you app maker peoples. Continue to improve because it ain't fixed yet all the way. Anyway,
no, it's getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better. But anyway, Carlson, his 11th assist, and Ovi, his 8th assist. So it's not like those of you who are worried about Ovi, it's not like he ain't producing. Okay, he's just not scoring 20 goals, every 15 games anymore. But don't fret, he's still producing. He's still doing wonderful things.
Mm-hmm.
And including throwing the puck at the net that looks like a shot, but was actually a pass, like this one. Or putting it on nets with enough force to cause a rebound, so that somebody in net, when somebody bothers to be in front of the net, can pick up the rebound and score. This is what we need to see more of. Big asses, big body. Not that Tommy's an ass. I'm not implying that, but big guys with big asses and big arm, big everything else. Use your imagination. In front of the net, causing havoc and scoring goals. That's what we need more of. That's what we haven't had enough of. Big guys make big things happening.
Mm-hmm. And I've been screaming that for, a year and a half now? Gotta get in front of the net. Shut up. Nope.
Oh,
don't even.
Yeah.
Don't. Nope.
Nope.
Did I say that out loud?
No.
No.
No, we try to be a family show. We fail, but we try. Anyway, okay, so moving on with the game recap. Oh my God.
Into the third period of the game.
Oh no, not even. We're not done with the first.
Oh, no, we forgot.
That's right. Forgot. Keep on forgetting about this one. Nick Dowd got his second of the game, or second of the year, rather. Just before, and this probably ticked off a lot of McDonald's fans, but literally 1 second before would have been the magical McNugget minute.
Nugget minute. Ooh.
18:59. Rasmus Sandin, Nico Kubel on the assist on that one, making it 4-2 just before the second period. Now, crazy as this was, no goals in the second period, none, and not really much action on the score sheet. The first 10 minutes of the third period.
Yeah, well, Anaheim had 15 shots on goal in the second period to our 4.
Yeah. And
no goals.
And no goals.
That's actually, on our part, pretty impressive.
Yeah. So 25 shots on goal, and Darcy's gotten 22 of them. That ain't all that bad.
Mm-mm.
It ain't great, but it ain't all that bad. It's enough for the win. Anyway, so we go on to the third period. Brock McGinn, his first of the year. There's that guy Leeson again on the assist, makes it 4-3 at 11:45, even strength goal. And I think I don't want to give our fans a heart attack, but here we go again. Caps get a power play at around 13 or so minutes into the third period, and they score on the power play again. You heard me right. Not one, but 2 power play goals in one game. Yeah. Now, what do I like to say about smacking the glass ketchup bottle?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
You smack it hard enough, you point it at your fries, you get a nice red river.
There you go.
And that's what happened here. So Tom Wilson, again, the same 3 guys who got the first power play goal act on this one. So his 7th, and it ices his first ever hat trick in his 700th game.
I didn't know it was his first.
I did not know. I did, and I didn't.
I thought he had one before, but
no, I never. I can't recall that he's had that many. And I'm hoping my Tom Wilson Appreciation Society club membership card doesn't get revoked for this, but I don't recall him having that many 2-goal games. But I will say this, and I said this on Sacroons as well. When the man scores, you will notice it makes an actual impact on the game. Now, his job is not necessarily to get on the score sheet with goals. That's not necessarily his job. I'm not saying he can't do it. That's just not job one for him. But when he does score, it generally either ties a game, puts them ahead and wins the game, or worse, gets them within 1.
Right.
More often than not, it's one of those 3 categories. He scores the big goals, the crucial goals.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, right, clutch, exact word I was looking for. That on ice intensity. I don't want him to ratchet it down ever. I don't care what the league says. I don't care what all the hoser critics say. I don't care. Don't ever, and damn me for the double negative here, but don't ever not be true to yourself, Tom. You keep that intensity up. You run over who you have to, and you do what you have to help this team win. That's why someday he's going to be wearing that C. I guarantee it.
Absolutely. He is the next captain, no doubt.
Someday it will happen. So that puts the Caps up 5-3 with about 5 minutes left in the game. And that's that's when sphincters start to get tight here because Ducks pull their goalie and the ice starts to tilt, and nothing good ever comes out of that. And eventually the Ducks did pull within 1 with 28 seconds left, making it 5-4. But then it was, too little and too late. Thank goodness. That was their 32nd shot on goal. I don't think and last. So sealed the game, thank goodness. Maybe we were expecting a shootout, but maybe not. But like you said, I think the key stat was 15 shots in the second period, and Darcy got them all. And could he have played better? Yeah, could he have gotten one or two of them? Yeah, maybe. But you know what? I don't want to cause another goalie controversy, but I think I figured it out. Darcy's the guy you want when the game's going to be a shootout, because he's going to clamp down if if it's too much back and forth. Charlie's the guy you want when it's going to be a tight game and the Caps can't seem to handle the pressure and can't clear the zone all that well. Charlie's that guy. He's Mr. Cool as a cucumber when Caps are turning into the Keystone Cops and cannot clear their own zone to save their lives. That's who you want when the game takes that kind of a twirl. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's that easy, but for my money, that's what it seems like to me anyway. I could be wrong. I've only watched 2,000 plus games in my whole life, but who knows?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Yeah. So
there are two different styles of play, and then especially with Darcy getting older and slower, because that happens when you get old.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want somebody who's going to be a little quicker in net when we can't get it out of the zone for some reason or another.
Yeah, I get that, and I get that's a concern, and it's a legit concern.
And that's always been my concern with Darcy. We signed this 32-year-old goaltender to a 5-year contract. I'm like, why? Why?
Well, see, here's
not
the thing.
that he's not a good goalie. He is an extremely good goalie. I'm not taking that away from him. But it's the situations he gets in, and then when he needs to be quicker, he's just not as quick as he used to be. And he's, these guys are pro athletes and they stay in shape and yada 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 yada. But even Ovi age is catching up with him. He's not as fast as he used to be, So, yeah, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Kemper, and I'm not hating on Kemper because I do like the guy, and I think he's an extremely good goalie in certain situations. It's just like you said, you want him in the situations where he has time to read that puck and see it coming, and adjust. Whereas Lindgren's a little younger, he's a little quicker, and in the tighter games, he can adjust quicker to get to where he needs to be to stop the puck or whatever he needs to do. So they're two very good goalies. They're just very different styles, I think.
Yeah. No, it very, very true. Very, very on spot observation there. And I think more fans need to appreciate that when it gets down to it, we've actually got two very good goalies. And what it's going to come down to is if and when the Caps make the playoffs, nailing down the opponent's style of play and who's going to be better suited against that. So
exactly.
That's why I'm not going to panic over which goalie does well. Now, as we get further on down the season, I think we'll know a lot more about what we've actually got. But
right. And sort of giving a preview of the next game. The next game had nothing to do with the goalie. Zero
at all.
This game is the perfect example of what you've been saying, I've been saying, Anna's been saying all along. Watch the fucking game. Sorry, I don't often drop the F-bomb on these things. Watch the freaking game. See what's going on the ice. This game had absolutely zero to go with the goalie. On that note, I will turn it back over to you.
Well, okay. So speaking of the goalies, before the game even started, oh boy. I'm not saying somebody ought to be fired for this, but they were there. Okay, so
somebody needs to start talking to.
It was last. Okay, so it was last night. They were there. They had played the 30th, which was Friday.
Right.
No, it was Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday. It was Thursday.
Yes, Thursday. You're right.
And Friday was travel day. And so they played Saturday, which was last night. How do you not know your backup goalie can't go until 6-7 hours before the game starts? How do you not know that? How do you not pay attention to that?
Yeah.
How does that slip conveniently through the cracks? So what? Charlie was like, I can go, and then all of a sudden he can't go. I don't think
No,
that was
because
it.
he wasn't even on the ice for warm-ups. It was Kemper and what's his name?
I know who you're Brett Lienhart, the video, one of the video guys.
Yeah, Lienhart.
So
they were on the ice. He wasn't even on the ice for practice for the skate that morning, the morning skate.
Right.
Lindgren wasn't even on the ice. And
then so they figure out, okay, Lindgren can't go, we need a backup, and then of course Hershey's, in Charlotte for their game. Ironically, Shepard was the backup, so they call Hunter Shepard, say, you got to get on a plane, go to Vegas. To which he answered, well, I don't have any gambling money. Sorry, bad joke. He gets there. He gets there literally 15 minutes before the game. There's that picture of him schlepping, his big equipment bag. Did you see that picture?
Actually, his bag didn't get there till after he did. He got there first. His bag was on a different plate.
Well, it was, but he was schlepping some sort of big ass bag.
Yeah,
but
he was.
Did you see that picture I'm talking about?
Which one? Where he's schlepping the bag in?
Where he's walking through the doors with that big ass.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw it.
Did he not look? Yeah. Did he not look a kind of a little like Robbie and him trying to get his two kids?
Yes, he did. Oh man, yes, I can see that absolutely. Oh man, yeah, or any parent with a kid or more than one kid or any kid.
But no, we're not picking on Robbie. It's just we've all been.
But
there.
It's a good analogy though.
It's hellacious getting two young kids anywhere. That's we're not picking on you, Robbie. I know you're listening, but it kind of looked that way because Hunter's grown his hair out a bit, so he kind of looks a little like he's got Robbie's hair. And
did you see the picture somebody posted of him side by side with Forrest Gump when he finished his run? And somebody said, "When did you get Forrest Gump on your team?"
I missed that. Oh, I got to look for that.
I'm not sure where I saw it. I don't know. I don't think it was. I don't know if it was in a different chat that Marcus and I are in, or if it was in the Power Play chat. I don't remember. I'll have to see if I can find it. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But
yeah. If you can find that, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it might have been in a different chat. All right. Anyway,
I don't remember seeing it. So yeah.
Yeah. So 15 minutes before the game starts, he's coming in the door.
Yeah, he's walking in. So the Caps technically have no backup goalie to start at all. I don't know if that discombobulated the team. I don't think it did. I would rather believe that it did not. And but it just I don't know how else to describe it. This team did not look like they were ready to play this game.
No.
And until I want to say the last 5 minutes, literally the last 5 minutes of the game, they were just kind of, floating through and just kind of, all right, we'll just show up and do very little and just kind of float around. And yeah, I didn't get the feeling that they were just.
It was frustrating. Well, the funny thing was, there was a time when I was like, we weren't even playing against the Knights. We were playing against the refs.
Well, yeah, there was that. There was
that stretch.
Yeah,
Now, I'm not saying that was the whole game, but there was that one stretch.
well, no, I don't think
It seemed
it
like
was
we were
just.
playing against the refs.
I don't think it was just a stretch, and I will.
They had
bolster my
two
case.
penalties the entire game, and both of them were in the third period.
Well, here's if you look at the summary, if you're in the game, if you're in the app, if you can go to the
I'm
summary
looking at
tab
it.
and swipe down to penalties, okay? So you're looking at the same thing I'm looking at, okay?
Yep.
751, Tom Wilson, 2-minute minor for slashing. What's slashing?
Bull.
You know what? Hey, app people, okay? How about this would be great. You show a video replay of the goals. Why not attach a video replay of the penalty?
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good idea, huh? Yeah.
The guy literally dropped his stick.
He did.
He dropped it.
Now Tom didn't
His
he
stick.
didn't exactly build up his case when he started pushing the guy around saying, "Hey, you're kind of a
Well,
pussy
what I heard was, "Are you effing kidding me? You're such." It's like, okay, Tom.
Yeah,
how you really feel.
I heard that. But yeah, I also heard some other choice words.
Oh yeah,
but
that was just.
but he pushed him saying basically, look, you're kind of being a wuss here by resorting to that
Yeah.
was basically his point.
Yeah.
But still there was this phantom penalty, and I think because they saw 43, okay, we're let's look like we're doing our jobs by calling a penalty here. I think was all that was.
Yeah, pretty much.
As if that weren't bad enough, though.
The next
that was the only penalty they called. And then, okay, so John Carlson, of all people, in the span of 14 minutes, manages to get 2 minor penalties.
Against the same guy.
Against the same guy. And I mean, John Carlson doesn't commit penalties, okay? He doesn't know how.
Right?
And you're going to call him twice? For 2 different minors? I'm sorry. It just didn't make much sense. And the first one was for hooking, 49 seconds in. The second one was for tripping. I don't know. And it was the same guy, and it was
I saw the first one. I missed the second one. William
Carrier, and I think that's why Mallenstein went after him at the end of the game, because I don't know. I thought, based on what I saw, and I've seen a couple of their games this season, that Vegas was a tough team in that they like to hit, and they do like to hit. But I'm going to kind of revise that, and they're kind of, some of the guys on their team are kind of wusses too, because they do this diving and embellishment crap also.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's why Mallenstein went after Carrier, and at the end be like, "Hey, look, you're pulling all this crap. You're not playing the game the right way, and we don't appreciate it."
Right.
I think that's what Mallenstein, that whole thing was at the end, was him saying that to him, saying, "Look, stop being a wuss and start manning up, playing the right way, and stop all this diving."
Right.
Yeah.
I
get in Vegas, the house always wins, but this is taking it to an extreme. It really is.
Yeah.
John Carlson, 4 minutes, and then Kuznetsov, his obligatory penalty, which we hadn't seen in a while. I'm going to go on a rant about him later, but yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Well, okay. Well,
and I love the guy, but I'm right there with you.
When we tie it all up with our quarter pole evaluation, that'll be included in that. But the Vegas didn't get called for jack until 10:03 of the third. 10:03 of the third.
Yeah, 3/4 of the way through the frigging game.
So more than that, actually. So that's 20, 40, 50, 5/6.
Okay.
5/6 of the way. So 50 minutes in before the refs noticed that they do anything wrong. And I saw 3 trips, 2 hooks, 1 interference penalty.
I saw at least 1 back check.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's like, what?
Vegas isn't this clean a team. I'm sorry, but they ain't.
No.
And for these idiot refs to think otherwise, and that guy Chimaloser was.
Yeah, he was there again.
Yeah, and Carter Sandlack was the other referee. He's another wannabe failed player.
I need to do more research on my refs. I don't know enough about these guys.
There's a site. I'm not going to advertise them here, but there's a site
you can tell me later.
keeps track of the refs and how they generally do, but they're not exactly very good at it. So that's one reason why I'm not going to mention their name. Yeah. So I wouldn't rely on them. So yeah, you may want to do your own research on who these ex McDonald's employees are, maybe, or soon to be McDonald's employees if the league gets their shit right. Anyway, am I sounding disgruntled? Maybe I am, but honestly, though, we can't blame the refs for this game because, again, I don't think the Caps were ready to play this game, and it just looked bad, top to bottom.
How long?
Bad.
Well, wait. In the chat the other you posted a stat. I don't think there was an offensive shot on goal.
Oh yes.
Until when?
Thank you, C4. Yes.
You're not going to win games if you're not shooting pucks. If you can't get out of the zone and your offense isn't shooting, you're not going to win games. That has zippo to do with the goalie.
Right. And I think that's what some of these goalie fanatics don't realize. But finish your thought.
To that point, if you can't get the zone out, if you can't get the puck out of your zone, of course the other team's going to score because we're going to get tired. The goalie's going to get tired. Something's going to squeak through. It's going to happen. That's how goals are scored. You get it out of the zone into the other team's zone. You get in front of the net. You wear their guys out. You wear their goalie out, and you score the dirty goals. But if you can't get it out of your zone, you're not going to score goals.
And
you're not. You're not going to have the chance. And that has absolutely zip to do with the goalie. It wouldn't have mattered if Charlie Lindgren was in goal last night.
No,
it wouldn't have mattered if Hunter Shepard was in goal last night. It doesn't matter. At that point, it simply doesn't matter. Sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter. And again, I wish some of these, Charlie fans would understand that or try to understand that, because I don't think, and obviously if he didn't feel like he was even, good enough to dress as the backup, which, so I heard, Darcy was also under the weather, fighting an illness, but
I think the hope was that Shepard would have gotten there in time to start the game. I think that ultimately was the hope.
I think that was the hope,
we didn't have much choice.
And again,
but I'm kind of hoping Shepard starts. We play what, tomorrow?
Good question. I actually dropped out of the app. Yes, they do play. They do play tomorrow at the Mullet Arena against the Coyotes. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see. You know what? Now that I think about it, I smell Scott Murray's mess in all of this. Oh my God. I swear he is the worst goalie coach ever. The worst. What the hell do they see in this guy? Please tell me. Tell me what is, I mean, did he blackmail Mitch Korn or something? I mean,
he blackmailed somebody.
I'm sorry. I've never seen, and Marcus made this point. Marcus made his point on I think his first episode ever. He was Braden Holtby. He was the first goalie he was in charge of was Braden Holtby. And yes, maybe it had a little something to do with the fact that Mitch Korn left the team along with Barry Trotz, but wasn't all that much of a coincidence that when Scott Murray took over, Holtby's game kind of went.
Yeah.
Right after that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And we had talented goalies. Vanacek was a talented goalie. Sammy was a talented goalie. They just had awful coaching. And now Vanacek would never. I don't think Vanacek would ever have been a beast. He would never have been a starting goalie, but he would have been he could have been an extremely good backup.
Yes.
But Sammy, and I will go to my grave believing this. If Sammy had someone like Mitch Korn when he was with us, he would have been a fucking beast. I will go to my grave believing that. That's just what I saw in him.
He probably would have. He had the fire in his belly. He had the intensity. He just could not nail down how to prepare and focus. And that's what a goalie coach's job is.
Right. Exactly. He did do a lot, and I think he was injured earlier this year, but he was doing so much better once he got out of, and everyone's like, oh, but he's doing so well, we're bringing back. No, don't let him thrive. Let him go where he's going to do well. Don't bring him back here because you're going to rue it. You're going to regret that he ever came back.
No.
The
day they finally decide to fire him or he moves on, whichever it happens, I don't even care at this point. But
yeah,
the day he is no longer an employee or associated with the Washington Capitals in any way, I think I will either head down to the local bar and drink myself to oblivion, or I will host some sort of banquet or something. I don't know, but that's going to be a celebration day for me. The day he finally leaves the organization.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
One way or the other. Okay, so yeah, we're getting off tangent here. But it was a bad game top to bottom, and not just the goalies. Brad Rakucci made a point in the chat room during the game. Caps had maybe one solid goal scoring chance. If I remember right, it was in the second period, and it was a quick snapshot by Nick Dowd. And had the Knights goalie, I'm trying to even remember who that was. Wasn't Aiden Hill.
Hold on, I'll let you know. That's what I'll tell you.
I got it.
Okay.
Thompson. Yeah, Thompson. Logan Thompson, I think it is. And if he was I don't know, I can't remember if he catches left or catches right, but if he was an opposite catching goalie than what he was, that shot goes in. But
that's a beautiful shot.
So he's right. So he's a right-handed catching goalie, and that thing was marked for that top corner. But yeah, he got it with the glove. But if that would have been his stick side, no, that puck is in. And maybe the game changes a bit. Maybe. I don't know. They still looked, to quote Smoke and Al Koken, lackluster. He limited that to the second period. I say it was all frickin' game. 55 minutes of it anyway. But let's give them their due. They did score one goal. Guess who? Star of the week, Tom Wilson, puts the lone goal in. So he stays hotter than a crock pot.
There we go.
And that's at least he's still going.
Right.
And fun fact, he's now tied for the goal scoring lead with Dylan Strome, who had something of kind of a down week. But I think that was maybe something had to do with the messing around of the lineup. And so let's kind of stop talking about this game, segue into our evaluation, as it were, of this team. So we're at the quarter pole, about 20 plus or so games in, quarter of the season. Yeah, I think it can be agreed that the Caps are doing a lot better than most people thought they would. They are in solid contention for a playoff spot. In fact, let me go ahead and pull up the standings. Okay, so as of right now, in the Metropolitan Division. They are holding on to the guaranteed third slot in the division, the third place slot, with a
Right.
record of 12-7-2, 26 points, same amount of points as
And we
the
have some
team.
games in hand too, though.
Exactly. They have 2 games in hand on the Islanders, who are behind them at 10-7-6. Same amount of points, but better overall winning percentage.
Right. Well, we got 2 games in hand on the Rangers, game in hand on the Rangers and 2 on Carolina.
Right, and 3 on Philly, who's not far behind either. And I think it was Tom Galletti who pointed out that there are all of 3 points separating third from 7th place right now. So if that stays, that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and we've played the fewest games in the division right now.
Right, and that
everyone else, we've only played 21 games.
Well, that's going to change because everything. Well, it's ramping up already. Here we are. We're talking about 4 games they played this week, and they're going to play several more this week. They're not even done with their road trip. So they're going to play Monday, tomorrow night at the Mullet Arena on the campus of Arizona State University. Go Sun Devils! Sorry, Brian. So Monday night, that is a 9:00 puck drop against the Coyotes. And then the Caps finally come home on the 7th to play the Stars. That's an 8:00 puck drop at Cap One. It's 8:00 because the 4-letter network is broadcasting that. So warm up.
I need to let Libby know that then.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to that game. For some reason, I assumed it was 7. I didn't even look.
Yeah. 8:00 start. So gonna have yourself.
That's actually good because that gives us a little extra breathing room on the front end getting down there. So
yeah, you're not seeing daylight savings time. That's the 4-letter network, wiping their ass with it. So
well, the folks in Dallas, I suppose.
I can't be mad at them because I got family in down in DFW, so I can't be too mad at them. So anyway, so those are the next 2 games coming up. But getting back to the evaluation of the team, again, doing a lot better than I think most would have thought they were. But that's not to say there's not room for improvement. In fact, there's a lot of room for improvement. And we talked about Dylan Strome, and I think they were trying to figure out who is supposed to be centering the top 2 lines.
I think Strome needs to stay on the top line.
I think he does too.
Put LaPierre, bench Kuzi, move Michael up to the second line, put LaPierre on the third line, and keep Dowd on the fourth.
You read my mind, and I never in a million years thought I'd hear myself say this, but I think, unfortunately, it is time to consider taking young Mr. Kuznetsov to the press box, familiarizing himself with all the amenities there, such as the wonderful popcorn and hot dogs and all the nice gourmet food they seem to have up there. Not that I'd know. So I've heard. And pulling out a chair for him, saying, have a seat, enjoy the game.
I am so totally with you on that.
Now, I'm not saying keep him there.
No, but at least for the next few games.
Maybe 1 or 2 games, maybe more if he's a little slow to learn. But yeah, I think it's time to sit him down and say, look, you're not playing up to your standard. You're not playing like you should. You're not playing the way we want you to play. You sit and watch and see about what you can, do better.
Think about what you've done.
Think about what you've done, young man.
Or not done, as the case may be.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Shoot, there was a time I was screaming to bench Ovi, so I'm not afraid to say bench somebody.
Well, I hate to say, but that would have gone over like
And believe it or not, it was in 2018 during the Cup run. There was a time I was screaming bench Ovi, but no, Kuzi, he's just been so bloody inconsistent. And so, I don't know, he just needs to, I think he just needs a time off to get his head back together. Because, I mean, if he could just and he's been this way since COVID, it's like he's just, ever since COVID, and he got off I'm not going to use cocaine as an excuse. That is just stupid. It's over. It's no excuse. But ever since COVID, he just has not been himself. He's not played the game. It's like he's got his head up his butt. And I think, and a lot of it I'm seeing is habits he picked up when Laviolette was coach. Because Laviolette was one of those coaches. It's like, okay, get it across the blue line, look for the pass. Don't take it to the net.
Well, that's kind of funny because he said he didn't like the way Laviolette coached him. So you would think the first thing he would have done this year would be to start getting rid of those habits.
Work on breaking those habits. Right. And I think, and you see spurts of it. You see it every once in a while, but it's not been consistent enough. He needs to sit down. He needs to get his head together, put Strome back on the first. I really think Strome belongs on the first line. Absolutely leave Strome on the first line. Put Michael on the second line and keep him there. Well, although actually I do like Michael on the third line with Mantha and Milano. That line has been cranking. And maybe put LaPierre on the second line.
Maybe flip-flop LaPierre on between the second and third line, but I think LaPierre needs some playing time with the big boys for sure.
Yeah. Maybe start him on the third line and then move him up later. But Michael on the second line, LaPierre on the third line, Dowd on the fourth. And let Kuzi sit for a few games.
I do
give
like
LaPierre that playing time he needs, because there's going to come a time when we can't send him back down to Hershey, and he's going to have to go on waivers. And God help GM if he gets picked up, if that happens and he gets picked up, because I will personally.
I don't even want to think about that. I do like, though, that the chemistry that McMichael and Mantha have seemed to develop.
Mantha has blossomed with McMichael at center. He really has. And I think that's what he and Carberry has figured out how to use him and what he's good at. And that keep those two together for sure.
Yeah,
that could be. They're not going to be the duo, but they could be a duo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Mantha actually played so well. They even gave him some second unit power play time this week. I forget which game, but they actually had him out there on the second unit. So that's probably so these 20 or plus games in, that's probably the biggest and the best surprise is the play of Anthony Mantha. And hey, look, I'm just as shocked as anybody that number one, he's contributing, and number two, he's contributing at the level he is.
I've always liked Mantha. Always liked Mantha.
Well, I wasn't. I've
been disappointed by him.
Yeah, I was high on him when he first started. Yeah, last year I think he hit rock bottom, and sometimes you can't go up until you hit rock bottom.
Right.
And I still think there was. Well, I think no. I think
not the same thing, but I mean,
I don't think McMichael hit bottom. I think McMichael was just absolutely and totally mismanaged. I don't want to waste any more time with this, because I think we've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that Peter Laviolette was the absolute wrongest coach, if that is a word, for this team.
If it isn't, it should be.
And the crowning example of that was his treatment of Connor McMichael, and I think that says it all.
And we'll just leave it there.
Connor McMichael, I don't think he had a problem. I think he was just mismanaged. But there you have it. Two guys that were not, we're not getting it done, or not in the best light. We're not playing all that well, and then you put them together under, the right coaching, the right management, the right mindset, and here they go. They're both having pretty good seasons. Not off the chain, blockbuster seasons, but pretty good seasons. Yeah.
Better than expected.
That's a good start. That's a very good start. So that's the good. The bad. Okay. And this is why I say watch the games. But as good as the coaching staff has been with getting the most out of, say, guys like Mantha and McMichael.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they've done enough to get everything they can out of the vets. And I think Oshie is an example of that. I think Ovechkin, although they both might have come into the season hurt, so there is that. But on top of all that, and I get they're still figuring things out. They're still writing the script to this. Maybe they've got the first 15 minutes of this hour-long drama written out, the script for that. I get that, but here's what I don't like. If you watch the games, how many times have you seen the Caps enter the zone and two forwards go in past the dots? And if you look, there isn't a white or a red jersey anywhere else in the zone, anywhere in all of that acreage of the zone.
Nope.
They're not in home plate. They're not even over the blue line. They're standing behind the blue line. The two defensemen and the other forward. How many times have you seen that? I mean, am I talking out of my head here? Am I the only one that sees that?
No, I've seen it.
I mean, and this is almost as bad as last year when you'd have one of the wing go 10 feet inside the zone and just stop and stand there.
Right.
Almost as bad.
For what?
Right,
Take
exactly.
it to the net.
What are they
Keep
doing?
skating.
And I don't know if that's by design or if that's just they're not willing to go to the net. It's hard to say because to listen to the TV guys, the coaching staff is begging them to go to the net and they're not doing it enough. But when you see the same play, the same zone entry over and over and over again, that's got to be by design. That's got to be. So, again, I get that they're just starting to figure things out, but they need to be more adept to figuring out what ain't working, because that's one of about 1,000 things that isn't working.
Yeah.
That
And then
sending
the
two
power
forwards,
play.
the power play. Oh boy.
Are we
well,
sure we fired Forsyth?
Who, by the way, this is going to be interesting. The Coyotes hired him. Did you know that?
Oh no, I don't think I did. No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of fun to watch to see, who has the better power play in tomorrow's game. So that's going to be something to watch. Anyway,
well, you're assuming there's going to be a power play.
Well, they get better referees. I don't
know.
Do
they have the refs for tomorrow night scheduled yet?
Good question. Doubtful. I don't see. No, they don't.
Okay.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see it.
No.
So, anyway, yeah, the power play. I mean, we've been saying it. Put some bodies in front of the net, and you can't go wrong. If you've got the man advantage, you've got somebody to spare who can do that. Not just do the bumper position. That sounds like that sounds like a perverted 50s dance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, Wilson was in front of the net twice in Anaheim, right?
Yeah,
Anaheim.
Yeah, and that's how he
got
two of his goals.
Stick him there again. Let him hang out in front of the net like that.
Yeah, let the goalie smell how many burritos he had for lunch.
There you go.
And I'm not kidding about that either. He's got the hands. He's got the hands to do it too. It's not like you're throwing it at the net and hoping something bounces off here.
Yeah, he can see it and grab it and get it in.
Yeah, I mean, things you can say about your lunch, but not about your relationship. But yeah.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Anyway,
oh boy.
I don't know. It's as high as I am on the coaching staff. I see things like that repeatedly happening, and I think, okay, sooner or later you got to figure out what's not working and move on from it. And sometimes they're not willing to do that, and that kind of bothers me. And if you've got a legit criticism of the team, then go into detail. Don't just say, "Hey, look, the coaching sucks." Okay, kindly explain yourself, please.
Why?
Hey, look, the
What do you
goalie
see?
sucks. Oh, we suck tonight. Okay, how? Explain. Details. Something. Anything.
We sucked tonight because we couldn't get it out of the zone,
Right.
and our offense wasn't shooting, and blah blah blah, or whatever it may be.
Exactly. And look, I'm begging you guys, who are prone to saying that, watch the frickin' games. Notice those little things. Lots of little
Like I
things
said,
happening.
our loss against Vegas had absolutely zero to do with the goalie. Zero. It wouldn't matter who. We couldn't get it out of the zone. The offense wasn't shooting. Our first shot was by a defenseman. Okay.
Well, our first half a dozen shots were by defensemen.
Yeah. Right. So you're not, and then, I've said it before, I said it again. If you're not shooting the puck, you're not going to win games. If you can't get it out of the zone, you're not going to win games. If your power play sucks to high heaven, you're not going to win games. If your face-off is not good, you're not going to win games. So there's all these things you need to work on. Face-off.
And that's another reason. That's another reason why Kuznetsov needs to be benched. If you've looked at his face-off winning percentages,
he has been abysmal. He has been awful in the face-off circle.
He's been Pepto-Abysmal. Because every time he loses a crucial draw, I want to reach for a bottle of Pepto-Abysmal and hope I don't have a gastronomical episode.
Yeah, or reach for the glass of wine and down it. But
yeah. Anyway,
he's been miserable in this.
Yeah, I mean, though that's just. I wish we had more time, but that's just the tip of the iceberg as far as stuff they need to work on.
We need to. Maybe we do a special edition on things we need to work on.
Well, maybe so. But and I was, I was kind of hoping, that's why I was kind of reaching out to some folks who I was kind of hoping they'd have some time to call in and do a quick guest spot and say, hey, look, I've noticed XYZ on this, so we can get more than one perspective. We don't have the corner of the market on how this team does, and that's why we encourage all our fans to lend their voice. So, if you're listening to this and you're probably screaming at, from your end of the, the earbuds, the speakers, what have you, and saying, hey, look, they're doing this wrong too,
guilty.
Post it on Facebook, or, tell us you want to be a guest on the next episode. Make your voice heard. We're begging you. We'd love to hear from you. But I, when it comes down to it, I couldn't be happier that this team is doing what it's doing so far.
Yeah.
How they're doing.
At the end of the day, I'm thrilled overall with this team.
Oh yeah.
It's still gonna be a roller coaster. I mean, it's going to be up and down and all around this year, but I am absolutely thrilled with where we are right now. Way better than I expected.
Yeah,
so.
definitely so. And I definitely think that they will probably be in the hunt for a playoff spot. I'm still not 100% sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm still questionable there. I think we have a great deal of potential to play spoiler for somebody. But as far as us getting in there, maybe by the hair on our ass, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how we're doing.
I mean, I'm of two minds. I would love to see them get back into the playoffs, but I don't want things to happen too fast because I will keep on saying this. I think the year for, stamping down the gas pedal is year 3 of this plan. Not this year. Definitely not this year. And
this year's more transition, like you said, and, figuring out the puzzle pieces and where they fit best.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. But and this, I think too many fans have the wrong idea of what's happening, though. And I'll kind of wrap things up by mentioning this. I'm not going to say who they are, but there's another Caps group or newsletter or whatever you want to call them that posts on Facebook all the time. Basically, the article they wrote was asserting that Ivan Miroshnichenko, the Caps' first-round pick from a couple years ago, or 3 years ago, who's playing in Hershey this year, is being mismanaged because he's on the fourth line with the Bears.
No.
And yeah, I could not disagree more. And I think the premise of that article is that the writer the evaluator, whoever this person is, thinks that Miroshnichenko is ready for big time hockey now. He's not. He's still learning the game. This is year one.
He's learning the North American game, which is why he's in Hershey.
Right. Go ahead.
People need to remember he's not coming from the North. He's coming from the Russian European whatever game. Over, they play a little differently over there. So he is learning the North American game. Is he only on the fourth line? Yeah, but it's his first year here. Cut him some slack. He's doing extremely well where he is. Will we see him up with the big clubs this year? Maybe for a few games.
Maybe.
Will he crack the lineup next year? Maybe later in the season. I don't expect to see him full-time with the club until sometime the latter part of next season. Yeah, probably the latter part of next season. I don't think he starts day one next season with us. I think he stays in Hershey just a little bit longer. He needs just a little more seasoning. But from what I've seen, and I've seen him play, he's once he gets up here, he's going to be unstoppable. He's going to be really, really good. Once he gets the system down and once he figures it out, and he's doing it quickly, he's a smart kid. He'll be up here for good. He's not going to be one of these back and forth guys. So
no, I think he's definitely destined for great things. And I think it is a great thing that he's starting on the fourth line, and he's on the fourth line and getting the results that he's getting.
Right.
He's already got 4, 5, 6 goals this year.
Something like that. Hold on, I can check.
They played 20 odd games. He's getting 5 goals as a fourth liner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to see him move up and get rewarded, but if he's doing fine where he is now, what the hell is the rush?
Yeah, exactly. Roster. Oops, not Dubé. Roster. Where is he?
I think that's where. I think that's the point of view of
he's played 21 games, 6 goals, 7 assists. He's played 21 games, 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 points.
Okay, so he's getting a +9. Okay, so he's getting a point 2 out of every 3 games. He's a +9, which means that if he's playing on the fourth line, that he's learning how to play defense as well. Where have I heard that before?
He's had 1 game-winning goal. Yeah, he's only had 9 penalty minutes, so I get 9 penalty minutes, but okay.
I mean,
must have had a 5 and 2 fours.
I don't understand what the mentality is with immediately declaring the younger guys, and Ryan Leonard's kind of getting that same treatment too. And
no,
by the way,
he needs. I am totally with Marcus on that. He needs to stay at Boston.
They both need. Yeah, they both need more time. Look, I mean, think about it. Look, if you put. Go ahead.
How old is Leonard? 18. He's only 18.
Yeah,
he just
started. He just started.
Yeah, he needs to grow up a little bit. 18 is still a child. I mean, legally he's an adult, but he's still a child.
Boston College is a great program. He'll learn a lot there.
They are.
For sure.
He will. Yeah. Boston College. That's where Cale Makar came from. But I mean, no, Cale Makar was UMass. But I mean, yeah, anywhere Northeast, Midwest, same with Ryan Chesley and what's the other kid's name that we were talking about?
Cristal?
Not Ryan Leonard. Yeah, Cristal. They're still teenagers. Let them grow up a little bit. Let them get some seasoning on them. 18-year-old. I mean, yeah, okay. Nikki came up at 19 and did phenomenal. You have the rare bird that does that, but these guys, yeah, let them grow up a little bit.
Yeah, I think they all need more time, which again, lends itself to the plan that I have in mind. Give them 1-2 years in development, then give them a taste of.
Marishnichenko's only 19.
Yeah, give them a taste of. Then eventually give them a taste of the big leagues, and then see how they do. And maybe, leave them in Hershey for a time if they need it, or, give them limited minutes with the big club. But there doesn't need to be this rush of calling them up right now. They don't need to replace. No. Yes, we've got some older guys who are quite a bit past their prime and eventually need replacing. I get that.
But not right this minute.
Not right this bloody second. Okay. So, I mean, think about it. If you put a frozen pizza in the oven, all right, the directions say put it in, leave it in at 400 degrees or whatever for 22 minutes. You do not pull out that pizza at 13 minutes and try to eat it. Okay.
Right. It's not going to be ready.
It's because it's not. There's a reason the directions say that. I mean, we're not, it's the same logic applies here. So, I mean, yeah, will it suck if they miss the playoffs again? Yes, but that's not going to be determined by whether or not a Ryan Leonard or an Ivan Marishnichenko or an Andrew Cristal or any of these guys. Or Ryan Chesley. Or any of these guys at all does not get a chance with a big club this year. It's not going to hinge on that. Trust me.
No. And it's not even going to hinge on it next year. I give this I actually almost hope we don't make the playoffs again this year. But I mean, much as I would love to see it happen, it's I hate the one and done feeling in the playoffs. But, I don't see us getting deep into the playoffs until at least 2 more years.
Right.
At least 2 more years.
By then,
I don't see a cup for at least 4 years.
Well, we're talking way down the road here. And
5 years?
My vision is this year, next year, and the year after. And then beyond that, they'll have an all new core.
Mm-hmm.
So beyond that, yeah, that they'll be set. So I'm not worried about beyond that.
Yeah. One thing I will say is this team right now, and as long as GMBM doesn't screw it up for the next 4 to 5 years, we may not make the playoffs every year for the next 2-3 years, or we may not go deep into the playoffs for the next 3 years, but we're going to be hard to beat. We're going to be a tough team. And I don't see, yes, we're going through a retooling, restructuring, I don't want to use the term rebuilding because we're not actually doing that. We're not like dumping everybody and starting fresh. But I honestly don't see us going through some of the struggles like Detroit went through, like Chicago's going through, like some of these other teams who have attempted this restructure, retool thing. With the talent we've got coming up, we're not going to be, I don't see this team being bottom feeders at all for the next several years. We're not going to go through this bottom feeder stage that a lot of these teams have gone through. And this team is very, very lucky that we're not going to do that. Barring serious injury or GMBM does something incredibly stupid, this team is going to be pretty good for the next few years. We may not win a cup, we may not get to the playoffs, but we're going to be pretty good. And we're going to be damn fun to watch. So
they're fun to watch now. Well, for the most part.
well, yeah, with the exception of the other night. But I mean, for the most part, this team is still fun to watch. They still get out there, and like I said, for the most part, they do make the effort. Even in the games we lose, there is effort being made most of the time. So, it's, I don't know. It's just these downer Debbies and these, it's just like,
yeah,
I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to be Pollyanna either, because we're not going to see a cup for a few more years. We're not. It's just not going to happen.
Well,
I mean, now, having said that, I would love to be proven wrong, but.
Well, I think the problem is, and I get to some extent that they want that the fans that have been around long enough, yeah, trust me, I'm with you. I've been to that mountaintop with you, and I want to taste that rare air again. But you don't rush things. You don't climb a mountain by trying to leap up. It takes, you literally have to do it one step at a time. You can't skip steps when you're climbing a mountain. You just can't do it. It's got to be done right. It's got to be done a certain way. And if the Caps manage to do it right and develop their guys the right way, then they're not going to be the bottom feeders. They're not going to have to suffer through, a 20-win season, like in years past. And that, I mean,
right.
I don't
think,
an
8-win season.
Right. Well, yeah, those of us who can remember that.
Right.
But anyway, I'm gonna quote myself here because I responded to that article by saying pretty much this: there's no need, if you've got a vehicle that is running at a good clip on the highway, 50 to 60 miles an hour on a highway, there is no need to take it and jumpstart it so that it can go 75 miles an hour. There's no need to do that. And that seems to be the point of view of this whole thing.
You're still going to get where you need to go.
Exactly. You're going to get to where you need to go, and better to get there in one piece and in good condition in more time than rush things and then completely wreck yourself.
Correct.
And rushing Miroshnichenko, rushing Leonard, rushing these younger guys isn't the answer, nor should it be.
No, and what was it? Marcus' example from Buffalo, Yost or whatever his name was, came up too early and just, where is he now?
Yeah. So I think that's a good place to stop. But all things considered, they're definitely on the right trajectory, and that's Agreed. Something to take comfort in. You cannot make the playoffs in November and December, but they're looking good, and for the most part they're playing the right way. They just need to develop a lot more consistency, and they need to break themselves of the bad habits from years past. And they also need to, adapt to, some stuff that comes up every now and again. And it's painfully obvious this is still a coaching staff that is still trying to, learn as they go.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw out another analogy. It's like making adjustments to a race car without the ability of having to stop for a pit stop. You got to do it on the fly, but they're getting there. It's just going to take some time. And so for all the worries that everybody had, I think they're doing just fine is what it boils down to.
Agreed.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and stop it here. This one ran a little long, but again, kind of a special thing we try to do every year. First quarter poll, give you guys an idea if you haven't had a chance to watch all the games, how they're doing. So if you're not getting a chance to watch the games, definitely tune in and watch the games. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot about this team, about the game in general. And, that's our goal, help you, become a smarter fan of not only the Caps, but of hockey in general. And I guarantee you're going to learn something when you watch this team, the way they adjust. Because I think right now that's their hallmark, their work ethic and the way they adjust, because they don't used to be that being a goal down was a death sentence. It's not anymore.
No, they've learned to adapt to that, and they've learned to they've learned to figure out how to catch up, and they're starting to learn how to play with a lead.
Exactly. So that's probably one of the brighter spots, is that they've already learned what to do and what not to do in certain situations, especially when they either have the lead or when they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So
now they just got to do it consistently.
Exactly. All right.
And that will come.
Yeah, it will come in time, and that's why it's important to keep an eye on the team, keep on watching the games. All right, so just want to thank everybody for taking part, and continue to jump in the chat room and the Facebook room and make your comments. And we do really want to hear from you. And so if you want to be a part of the next episode and beyond, you actually want to talk with us, then we're available. DM me in Facebook Messenger. I'll even give out my email. It's glhallowed, glh allowed at yahoo.com is my personal email. Send me a contact, say, hey, I want to get on the show and talk about this, that, and the other, and you're on. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So open door policies, we always say. Be sure to catch me. I'm not quite sure who's going to be on is going to be on tomorrow, but me for
I'm
Caps
off tomorrow
Talk.
night.
Right, I kind of figured. I think Anna will be there, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I'm usually on.
I know Robbie wants her to be on there. I haven't heard.
I haven't heard
she's going
either.
to be there,
but I'll definitely be.
I'm off there. I'm off there tomorrow night, which is fine.
Right.
I'm
yeah,
actually.
So you needed a night off.
I actually. Well, I never expected to be on there as much as I was so far this year. I never expected to be a regular on the show. So, Robbie, I am truly grateful for the time you have given me. So, I really, truly appreciate it.
We're heading into the holidays anyway, so
yeah. It's a busy time of year for all of us. So, and then like Gil said, Sick Room Capitals Author Chains podcast is on Spotify. I was not on this week as I had another event to attend, but Gil was on, and our friend Jared from New York. So, get some good insight there too.
Yep. So
and
lots of different places you can listen to Caps Talk. But yeah, I'll definitely be on tomorrow night on Sports on the Hill for the first segment at 9 p.m. I think what we're going to do is kind of sort of a watch along for that first period anyway. So that's when the game starts.
I think that's what. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to wind it up here. For Cheryl Anne Forster, C4, thank you for coming on with me.
Always a pleasure.
Yep. For her and myself, the Blue Liner on Point, we're going to stop it here and remind you that, well, I ordered both a chicken and an egg off of Amazon. I'll let you know.
Oh my God. Yeah. No.
Hallelujah, and let's go Caps.
Let's go Caps.
This has been another episode of the Power Play Point podcast. All episodes are available from Apple Podcasts, the Podbean app, blueliner77.podbean.com, and now available from Stitcher. Music by Joe McAllister, voiceover by Jeffrey Conkle.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Power Play Point podcast. Thanks for listening.